2 years ago, I started to learn the basics of video game design. I didn't want to make the mistake of starting an overly ambitious project, so I decided to make a very small and simple game. So, yeah, that got out of hand pretty quickly. I took a step back and I decided that I should probably make a more manageable game. So one day I was laying on my couch, and I was like, what if I made a game about zapping space junk? So I made it, and I called it Lightning Laser. This game actually turned out pretty well, and I was able to keep it fairly simple. It was even kind of fun, and you can even electrocute fish. So yeah, that's nice. Even so, I wasn't too pleased with Lightning Laser. I just felt like there wasn't enough replayability. So I thought I would make another game about jumping from various platforms, suspended above the water while crazy mutant piranhas jump up and try to destroy the platforms. That didn't go so far. I kind of went back and forth between StarCast and Lightning Laser, but then I decided to make another game. One that wasn't too ambitious and that had a little more replayability. I quickly made the basic mechanics for the game, and I created my own circular-based collision system. It wasn't perfect, but it was kind of fun. A month or so passed, and I had a fairly interesting, albeit janky snowboarding bomb survival game called SkyBomb. The idea of which is to avoid bombs, collect orbs, and go as deep as possible. The game worked out surprisingly well, and I even released it to the Google Play Store. Link in the description. The replayability was much better in this game, but no one wanted to play it, or at least give it a chance. So, yeah.
They ask you how you are, you just...
I have updated the game a few times, but I ended up not really promoting it. My marketing strategy was non-existent, and I didn't even feel the game was really worth promoting. The game doesn't have the best tutorial in the world, and I think that has pushed away any potential new players. So, to recap, the issues with my indie games so far: StarCast was too ambitious, Lightning Laser wasn't very replayable, and SkyBomb was a sloppy product that I wasn't passionate about. After the release of SkyBomb, I took a break from game development for months. I tried to make one super simple game prototype, but I just wasn't really feeling it. One day, however, I felt I had it in me to make another game. I had recently completed some programming classes for school, which gave me some much-needed skills to keep my code more manageable. I was confident that I could make a quality product that I actually didn't feel bad about promoting.
Download SkyBomb lol.
This new game would be fairly large, but not too ambitious for my current skill set. Once I had the idea, I got right to work. I started making a robust weapon system capable of emulating hundreds of different weapons. The idea was to put so many items and unlockables into the game that it would keep players engaged for months, if not years. I also added in some pretty sweet procedural animations. Okay, well, that was accidental, but things started to come together, and a month or so later, bam, I had a somewhat decent looking game. The gunplay felt pretty satisfying, and this was the main thing I had in mind when starting development. I wanted the guns to feel super beefy and powerful. I knew the sound, screen shake, and visual effects were imperative to achieve this. I ended up adding lots of guns and a few armor sets for a start. The armor you see here looks terrible and is work in progress visually, but it is fully functional. I then was like, yo, I want to make some swords and knives and spears and maybe an axe. So I began working on a melee weapon system, and okay dude, come on. It then seemed logical to make a medieval world with guns. Anyways, a few days later I had the medieval world mostly complete, so I added some themed armor sets and 10 unique weapons, and bam! I had some fairly fun 2D hack and slash elements implemented into my game. Each weapon works slightly differently. The mace, for example, does not deal a ton of damage, but it is fairly quick and can knock the actual crap out of people. Spears and daggers have a stabbing attack that deals 3 times the damage from behind. Axes just deal a lot of damage. Swords have a 3-swing attack and can stab and slash with the cost of slightly less damage. Bows are, well, they're just straight up overpowered. I found that, generally speaking, the combat was satisfying and surprisingly fun. There was a decent amount of strategy that was involved, including using a specific weapon in a given circumstance. Armor works as one would expect, and can be obtained through killing an enemy or opening crates. Once you get a full set of dank Dark Lord armor, you won't die unless you just actually suck at the game. I hope you enjoyed this video, and most importantly, I hope you learned something. I've made a lot of mistakes the past 2 years making video games, but I have learned significantly more than I would have expected. I still have a lot of room for improvement, but I hope you will consider subscribing for more content and so you can learn from my mistakes and successes.